My name is Josh Kelner, and I lost my bubby, and I wish I knew then what I know now. Growing up with my bubby, before the dementia really started to impact her life, my family always used to go over to her condo and have Shabbat dinner, and it wasn't even a question. It was every Friday our family was going to be going to Bubby's house for Shabbat dinner. So that's one of those memories that I'll have for the rest of my life. Her love for family, her love for baking, her love for cooking are things that I remember greatly. She was also very active in my life, coming to my sporting events and just being a part of who I am and who I've grown up to be. When my Bobby's memory began to be impaired by dementia, I really struggled to find that connection and deal with what are the topics that I'm going to talk to with my Bobby. How do I deal with that? And that was really a challenge for me. Beyond that, it was a struggle to not only for me, but to see the responsibility that my mom had to take on as the primary caregiver, knowing that she had to be concerned about my Bubby's well-being as well as her husband and her kids at home. So that, looking back, that responsibility that my mom took on was immense, and I recognize that now, but I didn't recognize that at the time. However, my connection with my Bubby over time did really grow into something special, and I found that I really can have special times with her. One of the memories I have is while I was in college, she always used to ask me, how's college? How's the college treating you? And my answer was, college is going well. And the funny thing is, even after I graduated college, the question still was, how's the college? And initially, my response was, Bubby, I'm actually working now, and this is what I'm doing. And I got this look and expression on her face. She was so perplexed. It just didn't make sense to her. It wasn't in her memory. And over time, I realized, that's not the way that I'm going to have that special connection with my Bubby. And so I realized that it was more about, finding a way to do that. And so when she asked me that question, I responded and said, college is going well, and that put the biggest smile on her face. And at that moment, I knew I had found something. And so, through that experience, I started building on that and talking about the baking and the cooking that she did so well growing up, talking about how great her coffee cake was and how much I loved it. And again, finding ways to put that smile on her face was just so important. Looking through pictures was another way. Finding ways to again build that connection. Some of the things that I've learned over the years through my experience is that knowledge is power. Education and forums like these are critical, are so important to staying ahead of the game and being proactive and building up your knowledge base before the disease impacts your life. Because I have a feeling that in one way, shape, or form, it's going to impact everyone's life, whether it's your family or your friend's family. In some way, it's going to affect it. So having the tools and seeking out the tools is critical. Another thing I've learned is that cognitive impairment is not easily identifiable. So my generation's challenge is to educate people so that they know how to make that impairment visible and how to deal with it and how to address it best. In addition, the more caregivers that can get involved, the better off that individual is going to be, and the better off the family is going to be. My mother was by far the primary caregiver for my Bubby. My cousins and my uncle, along with my brother and I, were secondary caregivers, and that's important too. And so I would encourage people to have the entire family become involved. And then lastly, the biggest thing that I've learned is that there's no need to deny that the impairment exists. It's finding a way to find the joy in it and embrace it. And so I can't stress that enough, is how important that is to find a way to build that personal connection.